Hello and welcome to part 13 of the Robin family stories with me, Nannie. Well, today I have two more stories for you, and they are both about the rather cold weather. I don't know about you, but it's getting quite cold here where I live now, and so we are lighting our fires and putting our warm clothes on. Well, let's find out what happens in the woodlands to the Robin families, shall we? Are you sitting comfortably? Then let's begin. My first story today is called Fog and Frost, where old Mrs. Woodmouse has just the word to describe the nasty weather. Now, don't forget, said Mrs. Rebecca Robin to her son and daughter one morning, you and your cousin Richard are going to old Mrs. Woodmouse's after school, because your aunt and I have to go out. We'll collect you on the way home. Fancy thinking we'd forget to go to old Mrs. Woodmouse's, Rowley told his mother with a chuckle. It was a chilly morning, so Rowley and Rosemary trotted very briskly along the winding paths to the woodland school, meeting Richard on the way. You haven't forgotten about old Mrs. Woodmouse, have you? Were the first words he said as he came scampering towards them. Indeed we have not, Rosemary replied, laughing. All through the day it seemed to get colder and greyer. Miss Thelma Thrush decided it really wasn't nice enough for her little pupils to go out for their games lesson, so they all stayed in their classroom and she read them a story. By the middle of the afternoon, two rather unwelcome visitors had arrived in the woodlands, Jack Frost and a thick damp fog. When Miss Olivia Owl looked out of her study window, all she could see were the silvery fingerprints of the frost on the window panes, and beyond them a fuzzy blanket of fog. She decided that it would be best for all her little pupils to go home right away. Mr. Reginald Rook and several other grown-up woodlanders helped to guide everyone home, carrying torches and lanterns. The three little robins found that Mrs. Woodmouse, warmly wrapped in her thickest shawl and carrying a lantern, had come to collect them. Frost and fog, not nice at all, she said. When I was at school, we used to call the two of them together Frog. The little robins chuckled. We must tell Freddie and Flossie Frog, they said. I expect they know already, replied their old friend. It was their grandma, who was at school with me, who made it up. Back at Mrs. Woodmouse's cosy cottage, tea was all ready, and how the little robins enjoyed sitting around the parlour fire until their mothers arrived. Well, I hope you are keeping nice and warm. Do you have a nice fire to sit in front, or maybe some nice warm clothes and blankets? Well, our next story today is called Warm as Toast. It's something we say, isn't it? If something as warm as toast, it's nice and warm, just like toast is. And this second story is about where there's nothing worse than cold feet, as Rowley Robin discovers. Are you ready? Let's begin. Story number 2. Goodness me, exclaimed Rowley Robin as he and his sister scampered into the cosy kitchen of Tree Stump House. My feet are ever so cold. In fact, they are freezing. Have you got your boots on? Mrs. Rebecca Robin asked as she poured out some nice hot tea for her little son and daughter. Of course I have, Mummy, Rowley told her, but my feet are still cold. And then, when he bent down to take his boots off, the little robin discovered why. There was a hole in each of them. Goodness me, said Mrs. Robin. Now why didn't we notice? No wonder your toes were chilly, Rowley. I think you ought to warm them up by putting a pair of slippers on. Here's my slippers, nice and warm. Keep my feet warm. So that was what the little robin did, and thanks to the slippers and the lovely fire in the parlour, his feet were soon as warm as toast. Now, declared Mrs. Robin, there is only one thing to do. Buy you a new pair of boots. What a good thing tomorrow is Saturday. We can go first thing. So after breakfast next morning, Mrs. Robin, Rowley and Rosemary set off for the village shops. They went shopping, leaving Mr. Robin at home doing some gardening, digging the garden. Mrs. Robin and her son and daughter made their way to Mrs. Linnet's shop, where Miss Linnet told them they couldn't have come at a better time. Some fine new boots had just come in. They are lovely, aren't they? They are lovely and warm, she said, because they're lined with wool. From the sheep across the valley. Your toes will be cosy, no matter how cold it becomes. She got out a pair of boots as brown and shiny as autumn conkers. Do you remember our conkers from our previous stories? And Rowley tried them on. How do they feel? Asked Mrs. Robin. Very comfortable, replied Rowley, admiring them in the mirror. Good, said Mrs. Robin. Now, while we're here, Rosemary, you can choose a pair yourself, in case you get a hole in your old ones. Rosemary was delighted and chose a pair of boots that were as red and shiny as red holly berries. Then, just like her brother, she wore them home. Goodness me, said their father when he saw them. Between you, you must have the finest boots in the Woodlands. Well, I thought we could finish our stories today with a rhyme all about Jack Frost. So maybe you can get to know Jack Frost a bit better. He is someone who comes to visit us when it starts to get very cold, and he causes our windows to get icy, and he leaves little fingerprints on them that make beautiful patterns, and we call him Jack Frost. Listen to this poem. Look out, Jack Frost is about. See if you can hear the rhyming words at the end of the lines, okay? And we'll look at those at the end. Ready? I'll read that again. Look out, Jack Frost is about. He's after our fingers and toes. And all through the night, the gay little sprite is working where nobody knows. He'll climb a tree, so nimble is he, his silvery powder he'll shake. To windows he'll creep, and while we're asleep, such wonderful pictures he'll make. Across the grass he'll merrily pass, and change all its greenness to white. Then home he will go, and laugh, ho, 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 what fun I have had in the night. Did you get that? Would you like to read it? Say it with me this time. And if you can read, oh no, you can't, can you? Because it's mirror image. Never mind, I'll read it again and see if you can hear and join in with me. Ready? Look out, Jack Frost is about. He's after our fingers and toes. And all through the night, the gay little sprite is working where nobody knows. He'll climb a tree, so nimble is he. His silvery powder he'll shake. To windows he'll creep, and while we're asleep, such wonderful pictures he'll make. Across the grass he'll merrily pass and change all its greenness to white. Then home he will go and laugh, ho, 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 what fun I have had in the night. Did you hear those rhyming words? Let's see if you got them right. The first two are out, look out, and about. The next two are night, all through the night, and the gay little sprite. The next two are tree and he, nimble is he. The next two are creep, asleep. And then grass and pass. Then go and ho ho. Did you get those rhyming words right? Well, thank you for joining me today. And we had great fun, didn't we? Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And if you subscribe to my channel, you will get a notification when the next videos come. So thank you again and see you next time. Bye bye, everyone.